Day 87, June 12th, 2026. Year 5991, 6th day of the week, Friday, 27th day of the 3rd month. The discipline of generosity, having all things in common. Daily devotion by Pastor Vaughn. Scripture reading. Acts 2:44 and 45. And all that believed were together, and had all things in common, and sold their possessions and goods, and parted them to all men, as every man had need. 2 Corinthians 9 and 7. Every man according as he purposed in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for Yahweh loveth a cheerful giver. All of the marks of the post-Pentecost church, none is more uncomfortable to the modern reader than this one. They had all things in common, not because Rome forced them, not because some council decreed it. They did it because the Spirit had so thoroughly rearranged their understanding of ownership that holding tightly to private possessions while a brother had need had become unthinkable. This is what the fire actually did. It did not merely loosen their tongues, it loosened their wallets. The same Spirit that opened their mouths to declare the wonders of Yahweh opened their hands to meet the want of their neighbor. Pentecost cannot be measured by languages spoken. It can only be measured by the lives shared. Notice carefully what Luke is and is not saying. He is not describing communism. The believers in Acts did not pool their assets into a state treasury. Peter explicitly tells Ananias in chapter 5 that his property remained his own and the proceeds of its sale were at his own disposal. The sin of Ananias was not failure to give, it was lying about what he gave. The principle was not the coercion. The principle was conviction. They gave because the Spirit made them generous, not because the law had made them obligated. But that conviction was real. It was not theoretical. It cost them, and it produced a community in which no one was in lack, not because everyone had a lot, but because everyone gave what they had. That is the math of the kingdom. It is not redistribution by government. It is generosity by spirit. Paul carries principle into 2 Corinthians chapter 9. Every man according as he purposed in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly, not of necessity, but cheerfully, generosity. In Paul's theology, is not a transaction. It is a disposition. It is a converted heart that does without being told. The believer who must be cornered, guilted, or pressured into generosity has not yet been visited deeply enough by the Spirit who makes giving instinctive. Shane, on the 27th day of the 3rd month, this is the question that does not stay theoretical. Where is your life and your generosity disciplined, and where is it situational? Disciplined generosity gives by purpose, on a schedule, before need arises. Situational generosity gives by impulse. When guilted, after the appeal. One is the fruit of conversion. The other is residue of religion. Reflection questions. Is my generosity disciplined or situational? Do I give by purpose and rhythm, or only when pressed by an appeal? Where in my life have I held tightly to something that the Spirit has been asking me to hold loosely? Money, possessions, time, or hospitality? Would the people closest to me describe me as generous? Not religious, not principled, but actually open-handed? Prayer. Father Yahweh, who so loved that he gave. I confess that I have learned the language of Pentecost without learning generosity of Pentecost. I have spoken about the fire while clutching what the fire was meant to consume. Forgive me for tight hands in a season that requires open ones. Loose me where I've held money too tightly. Loose my fingers where I've held possessions too proudly. Loose my grip where I have held my table too privately. Loose the door. Make me a person whose generosity does not have to be explained, because it's the natural overflow of a Spirit who has filled me. Make me a cheerful giver. Make me a disciplined giver. And make me the kind of brother in whose presence no one is ever in lack. Not because I'm rich, but because I am open. In Yeshua's name, amen.